Hello, Gravel Throat Reviews here. Today I'm going to be reviewing 5 brand new albums, including the Sub Rosa EP by Daevar, Under the Eternal Shadow by Final Dose, Sable Fable by Bon Iver, Ever Love, Ever Have by Glasshealer, and Gold Star by Imperial Triumphant. Please hit the like button if you can, it helps out quite a bit. Thank you so much. Let's dive right in. Number 1 is Daevar with the Sub Rosa EP. Daevar is a self-described doom grunge trio that also dabbles in shoegaze and dark pop. Some riffs are slow and steady, while others are more mid-paced and bring a 90s nostalgia with some catchy vocal melodies that feel brooding and angsty at times. Songs like Catcher in the Rye and Daughter give you massive walls of guitars alongside a softer and melodramatic clean vocal style that is reverbed and cavernous. Some of the lyrics aren't too inventive, but they're not too bad considering the English is a second language and the fact that they are shrouded in dreamy, foggy atmospheres that are heavy and melancholy. If you're a fan of projects like Chelsea Wolfe, Midwife, Emma Ruth Rundle's earlier stuff, Zola Jesus, Mesa, etc. Consider checking out Daevar's new EP, Sub Rosa. I gave it a 7 out of 10. This is a pretty solid EP. Moving on to number 2 is Under the Eternal Shadow by Final Dose. Final Dose is from the UK, and they are back with a brand new album of punk for the witching hour. This time the production value is elevated along with some more explosive guitar stacks and more dynamic vocal delivery, taking nods from bands like Young and the Way, Uwada, Watain, Wormwitch, and Lamp of Mumur, etc. If you're looking for innovative black metal with obscure time signatures and dramatic 7-minute ambient builds, this is not the band for you. If you're looking for ignorant cave blasphemy with a side of malt liquor and road rage, you've come to the right place. With songs like Rite of Spring, Dark Paradise, Wretched, Locked in the Black Dungeon, you're hit with volleys of distorted guitars, high-pitched wails, and pained, throat-ripping screams. I like the driving drumming and the catchy riffs on the song Revenge. I like the attempts to create dynamics by using synth, spoken word passages, and even some clean vocals. Even if some of them are slightly underwhelming, I really appreciate what they're doing here. All in all, this album is pretty damn cool. I'm going to be throwing my back out at the gym tomorrow to this album, but I give it a 7.8 out of 10, and that is Under the Eternal Shadow by Final Dose. Moving on to number 3 is Sable Fable by Bon Iver. Bon Iver, however you say that. Bon Iver is an American indie folk band started in 2006 by singer-songwriter Justin Vernon. Bon Iver was originally a one-man project, but then more recently there are some additional members that provide keys, horns, strings, etc. This new album, Sable Fable, is a nice melodramatic slow burner piece with some great meditative and holistic tracks like Speyside, Things Behind Things Behind Things, and one of my favorite tracks of the first quarter of this year, which is Everything is Peaceful Love. This track is absolutely beautiful with some climbing vocal melodies and blissful falsettos. I love the mix on some of the acoustic guitar plucks. They sound clear and upfront and personal. I love the delicate guest vocals and harmonies on the track Short Story and the pitched vocals that levitate over the slow, frumpy but groovy bass lines on the track Walk Home. The scattered pianos and glitching samples on the collaboration with Dijon and Flock of Dimes is really interesting and unique. A shout out to my friend, the Exit Bags up there in Canada, who showed me the physical promotion rollout for this album, and it includes things like perfume, smoked salmon, and like temporary tattoos that are all in like this salmon hue that I guess is supposed to be correlate with the album cover. I guess this helps promote the album. It's pretty silly, but I will say that this is kind of a unique idea and could possibly drum up some more eyes on the album. So all in all, it could end up being a net positive for the promotion team. But anyway, I like this album a lot. I think it's one of the best albums that Bon Iver has done to date. I give it an 8.8 out of 10. Great album. That is Sable Fable by Bon Iver. Moving on to number 4 is Glasshealer with the album Ever Love, Ever Have. This is a relatively unknown band, so if you're going to pick one album from this list, let it be this one. So Glasshealer is an Austin, Texas-based experimental rock band that I think is incredibly unique and dynamic. They infuse elements of post-punk, grunge, metal, indie rock, and there are some elements of electronica and some softer singer-songwriter moments as well. The vocals can be anything from a soft whisper to a spoken word to a scream to a beautiful, clean vocal feel as well. This is one of those bands that is almost impossible to nail down genre-wise. Or even just guess what the next sound that is going to be on the next track. I love the harmonies on the track Hallucination that are followed by these distorted semi-angular guitar riffs, and they are finished with this catchy vocal line that grows in intensity until dropping you down into another calm spoken word part. They really take you on an emotional trip with these pieces. I love the pulsating synths that vibrate in the background on the track For You. The title track, Ever Love, Ever Have, starts off with a weird, off-putting chord progression that melts into a post-punk / punk vocal style that quickly evolves into some breakbeat percussion and some repetitive synth arpeggios that are paired with some soaring clean vocals. Glasshealer takes nods from bands like Foxing, The Smile, Idols, and Sleep Token. This band is unique and awesome. They are definitely not afraid to take risks and go their own route, and that goes a long way for me. I also want to shout out the song Clearer that sounds like a futuristic Rush track, but with a drum and bass twist, and the vocals are super catchy. Also the track Sonder that calms you down with some acoustic guitars and some heavenly falsetto vocals. Yep, I love this album. Like I said before, this is a relatively unknown band, so please look them up, spread the word on this band. They have what it takes, in my opinion. Love this track, love this album. That is Ever Love, Ever Have by Glasshealer, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. Great record. Very innovative. All right, moving on to number 5, which is Imperial Triumphant with the album Gold Star. Imperial Triumphant is an avant-garde experimental metal trio from New York that combines jazz, death metal, black metal with dissonant textures and interesting song structures. Albums like Vile Luxury and Spirit of Ecstasy were chock full of these experimental angular pieces that were very interesting, but in my opinion suffered from a lack of groove in some places, although I do think this was an artistic choice and not a failure. This new album Gold Star is a step up for the band in regards to flow, mixing, dynamics, and riffs. Gold Star is heavier on the death metal than the previous album, so it's more pulverizing and more driving, which for me is what I really wanted to see them do. The opening track, Eye of Mars, is a great way to start the album because it delivers their signature jazzy horn work fused with a life-stomping chugs and furies of blast beats and dissonant chords. The track New York City starts with some lightning-fast snares and some windy atmospheres that are paired nicely with Yoshiko Ohara's guest vocal screams. This is a really short track, and it essentially serves as an interlude, but most interludes are more calm and they give you kind of a moment to breathe in between tracks, but this one does the exact opposite. It hits you with mega fast, harsh walls of sound and blistering drumming, so it is effectively a anti-interlude. I think that's a great idea. Imperial Triumphant is always they always think out of the box and have been praised by legends in the genre for doing that. I like the New York City atmosphere on the track Pleasure Dome that features Dave Lombardo and Thomas Hake. The rhythmic chugging on this track creates groove while the drums just dance around in the background with tom and snare flurries seemingly in an almost random way. I like the dreary feel to the closing track, Industry of Misery. Around the 4-minute mark, there is a spacey guitar solo that has a cleaner guitar tone that is followed by some sinister arpeggios and some airy bass that feels rounded and bulbous. I love the crescendo on this track. It's busy and melodic while still being agitating and brutal as hell. This is one of my favorite moments on the album. But all in all, I like this record quite a bit. I think it's a step in the right direction for Imperial Triumphant. I will give it an 8 out of 10. 8.2 out of 10, excuse me. But yeah, so shout out to all these albums, all these projects. Check them out on their respective websites. Show them all the love that they deserve. Thank you so much for being here today. I have some t-shirts for sale. If you're interested, just let me know. Thank you so much. This is Gravel Throat Reviews. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.